In your time, we were accelerating towards the cliff edge of catastrophic climate change. There is always a day in history when words become actions. We had to deal with overconsumption first. The prices we paid for things had to reflect the social and environmental costs. We must act now in order to transform my near future.
And good day to all of you. My name is Max Edkins. I'm on the Connect for Climate program of the World Bank. We're coming to you live on our Facebook page, Connect for Climate, straight from the Digital Media Zone here in Bologna for the All for the Green Week in support of the G7 environment. This is a week of environmental discussions, activities, art exhibitions, over 70 events happening around the city of Bologna, all with the message that we together can tackle climate change and we can achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Michael Geidel. So Michael is the co-founder of the Green Filmuniversität, and he's also a researcher and film producer. And you're also one of the Film for Climate ambassadors. So we just watched the opening video of the Film for Climate initiative, which is one of the initiatives of the Connect for Climate program of the World Bank. And that really looks into how can you work with the film industry to both green the production processes, green the industry, reduce the carbon footprint of productions, festivals, and then also use the power of film and the power of media to bring those climate and environmental messages to a broad audience. So how exactly can one use the film industry to achieve those two goals?
Well, that's exactly a challenge we've been facing a couple of years ago when we were researching at the Filmuniversität in Babelsberg in Germany, and we founded the Green Film Initiative, which is, or was at that time, the first science-backed practical initiative to focus on how we can make and create guidelines for the film industry so that they can actually see how they can transform their business and their producing of films into a more sustainable and green way, leaving a less of a carbon footprint. And at that time, there was not much of that going on. We knew that in the US, the Producers Guild, there were some activists, also because there are some actors who are activists in the scenes, so Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Ruffalo. There's many, many well-known actors who are behind this cause. And also the studios, the major big studios, they all have, or are about, at that time, were implementing their green sustainability guidelines so that they can actually reduce their carbon footprint. In Europe, it was a little bit different. There were some of the countries who were really front runners, like France, EcoProd, like Belgium, the UK, Germany then as well. And over the last years, this has been, more of a coming together. There has been Cine Regio, where all of the film commissions are now together and they are, forcing plans and trying to set up guidelines and make workshops, for film producers so that they can actually learn how to be more sustainable when producing a film. That it does not cost more, it can be more effective, you can even save money. It does really make sense in a lot of ways to do a film production in a green way. So this is the first one thing that is really, really important. But as we know, film as such is a big, audience-loving instrument. So if we are able to transport messages also in films to the audience, making them more aware of what sustainability means, what challenges, but also what positive things there are, we can actually make an impact on the influence, making a little change here and there in their behavior. And so far, there have been really, really projects in films, not just documentary, but also fiction films that tackled this issue in a very, sometimes even funny and positive way. That's what we also found out in our research. You can't just say everything is bad and everything is going down the drain. No, you have to see the options. You have to see, yes, it's a challenge, but yes, we can do it. It's the positive mentality that is key to our success in, reducing carbon footprint and making a change.
Absolutely. So on the reducing the environmental impact and the carbon footprint of productions, there's also the question of festivals and how you can make those more green. Maybe just to let our viewers know, so we're doing screenings here on Piazza Maggiore in Bologna. It's one of Europe's, if not Europe's, biggest outdoor cinema screen. And we're actually powering that whole thing through solar energy, which is supplied by building energy. And that is one way of reducing the carbon footprint of a festival, is you actually run the whole thing on renewable energy. But what are the other kind of actions that one can implement, both on the production as well as on the festival side?
Well, for the festivals, I mean, there are very, very few examples that, are making it wrong. Not really, because in being sustainable, it's more about, little small steps, and you build up, and that's what you do. You learn what works and what works not, and then you try to be better each time you do it. I mean, you've been at the Cannes Film Festival for a couple of years now, and you were running workshops and panels, educating and, announcing things, really to make it more visible and to attract also people to the idea of it. Because a lot of people just don't think about it. They think, yes, let's do it like always. Let's do business as usual. No, with small little things, you can actually make a big change. Yeah. And of course, a festival is an event. It's like a big event. And, waste, transport, electricity. There is many things you can change just by a little switch, or you take solar energy, for example, right? I mean, that's a big change. You do this, and it's not complicated to do, really. And in the film production side, it's very similar. A film production is a very complicated undertaking. There's lots of last minute changes. There is hundreds of people on the set, and you're moving all day, and that's why you have to plan ahead. But if you plan ahead, you can actually achieve lots of savings. You can get the transport optimized. You can electricity again. You can really build and light different ways. And naturally, a couple of years ago, everyone was talking about LED lights being not usable for film sets. Now, look at the situation right now. There's many big producers, directors, DOPs who favor LED light because it's very flexible. You can put it in any location. It does not need much energy, and the power and the lighting quality is really, really good. So the achievements in science help us being more sustainable over time.
Exactly, and that's really what the Green Film Initiative and the Film for Climate initiative of our program looks into, and aims to aggregate those guidelines on how you can compartmentalize your carbon footprint and then reduce it on every aspect, from your mobility to your electricity to your waste. But going more into the power of film, so we've been screening some really impressive productions here. So we had Racing Extinction showing on the big screen the other night. Tonight we're going to see Before the Flood, which features Leonardo DiCaprio. And it's those messengers and being able to put the picture to the challenge that moves people's hearts. So from your experience from working with film, what are some of the films that have really managed to do that in a very effective way?
Well, of course I have my favorites, but I'm not sure if this is very personal. And I know there is many crowd pleasers, and there's many films that have been picked up by the press because they showed some results, some science results, and how things could develop if we keep on going like we do right now. And the recent developments in the US, show that, of course, not everyone has yet understood that, there has to be a support for sustainability worldwide. And I think this is just something films can tackle and can, document and talk about very, very effectively. The film we're gonna see tonight will hopefully have a big effect on everyone in the audience, And of course, there's many other films we know that had and still have a really great impact. It doesn't have to be a very specific sustainable, issue. Also films that just show the beauty of nature and have, a little sidekick saying, that's what it is right now, but in order to protect it, we have to really take measures to enable this, because there is efforts and there are, industries who really look more into other directions and not so more into the sustainability.
And often films also give that subliminary message by depicting current situations, but also the future. So, electric mobility is something we're starting to see in most productions. Similarly, we're seeing renewable energy depicted on the screen. And these things are becoming a norm because it is becoming a norm in our current society. It's becoming a norm in our economic system. So looking ahead, what are your next projects and what are you excited about?
Well, I'm really excited about a project we are just preparing right now. It's called Polar 4, and it's a mission. We are sailing to the North Pole. Well, this as such might sound a little bit strange because the North Pole should be full of ice, but this summer will be one of the first years where we can actually sail with a normal sailing boat very up north. And this actually shows how much we have an influence and the Arctic changes. There is less and less ice, and this of course has an influence on the sea level. Sea level rise is a big topic. And how are we going to make people aware about this problem? By just saying we're going to sailing there. This is very obvious. So we're doing a sailing trip, which is a science-backed. So we're doing lots of scientific experiments there, and it's also a media project. So we're documenting everything. We're doing live broadcasts. We're doing daily broadcasts worldwide on different channels, and we are doing also something in virtual reality. So we're filming something in 360. Yes. So for everyone who doesn't know it, virtual reality means actually that you stand here, but you can be in a totally different area. So when you use the goggles and you look through these, you are at the North Pole, and by doing this, it enables people to be more emotional connected to something. It is proven, scientifically proven, that using virtual reality, you can learn more effectively. You can adapt and you can change your behavior if you want so. But it's really a deeply emotional effect when you go to a place where we would never be able to go, like the North Pole or South Pole or the desert or a very big high mountain, a peak. And by doing this is not just an innovative way to use media to present it to a wide audience, but this is also for us a way to make an influence, to make people more aware and more interesting about the topic itself. Because if you are able to walk on the North Pole and you see how it looks like today and how it looked like 10 years ago, you will see that this is you who has the ability to make a change.
Absolutely, and what's so exciting about the Polar 4 expedition is that you're sailing. So you're really using the natural elements to get to a space and show that story of climate impacts. The fact that we're warming the world and the ice is melting and access to the polar north is becoming more and more accessible because of the melting polar caps. No, and with that, I'd want to get one final message. What can we expect to see out of the expedition, and what's your message for our young viewers out there?
Well, I mean, Simone, the expedition leader, will be here for a more in-depth interview for the expedition. But our message in general for the expedition is really, take a look, be aware that you can actually make a change. Little small steps are enough. If you're a film producer, think about, going green. It's not really difficult. It can save you actually money, and people are happy because in our private lives, most people are thinking about the environment, and so we can in our business lives. And about the Polar 4 mission, I would say follow us, Google Polar 4, and help us reach as many people as possible to make them aware about the ability we have to save the Arctic and to make a change, not just for the Arctic, but for the whole climate. Thanks very much.
And exactly that is the message on World Oceans Day today, that the ice is melting and we need to get out there and show it with Polar 4. Thank you so very much for your time, and keep on following us live on Facebook with the hashtag SDG Live, as well as hashtag All for the Green. This is the All for the Green week in Bologna. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.